Hello. So I wanted to give a short video just going over my trip to Korea. It was super exciting for me to go. Although it was my second time going, so not as exciting as the first time, to be honest. But really, I had I kind of knew when I went the first time that with the coronavirus being what it was, that it may not be the best experience. But basically, I had been cooped up at home, not taking any vacations for all the the coronavirus, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I went, and I'm glad I went. But this time, it was a much better experience. Last time, people were wearing masks. They were cranky. They were not as happy and friendly. This time around, people were not wearing masks. Um, they were happy. They were friendly. It's just so much better experience. Um, yeah. So let's see. I flew out. I live in Tucson, Arizona. So I flew out from Tucson to, I think, Utah, then Seattle, and then to Seoul. I don't know exactly how long it took, but I would say maybe 18 hours total time, including layovers and all that. It was, it's a very, very, very big travel day. And I set it up with I was going to South Korea for 2 weeks, and then Japan for 1 week after. My trip to South Korea, I decided it was going to be a study trip, and I was going to go to Lexus Korea, which is the same Korean language school I went to last time. And I had the school hook me up with both a room and transportation from the airport to the room. Initially, I was going to do a homestay, but they tried to put me in some place that was not in Seoul. It was like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours away from class, depending on traffic or what I guess how busy the trains were or whatnot. So I got out of that. Unfortunately, I just missed the deadline to. I had to pay extra to switch this, which is stupid. They were trying to put me in some place just way too far away. They're like, we can find a homestay closer to the school if you want. And I said, I don't trust you. I didn't say that. I said, no, that's okay. We'll just do I went this last time where I got like a studio apartment, which was really, they're super tiny, just super tiny. This one, through my specific request to get a larger one, was a few feet bigger, a few square feet bigger, and had you could actually stand up and take a couple steps in the room, and that was so much better than the last room where there was nowhere to stand unless you removed the chair from the room for the desk, and then you could stand in that small area that was just enough space for the chair. Yeah, that was so. Anyway, so this was much better than that, for which I was very, very, very pleased about. The weather this time was much hotter. It's June versus October. It was hot when I got there, and it seemed to get even hotter as the time went on. Um, my Korean level was definitely better. Not where I'd like it to be by any means, but definitely better than the last time. I'm able to have. I found I was able to have conversations in Korean, very like your bare like very simple conversations. But the last time I went, I really couldn't. I could maybe like take the time to formulate a sentence in my head to ask a question if I'm shopping or something like that. But beyond that, I couldn't like do like a back and forth conversation in Korean. I could only listen, and even with like a Korean teacher, I won't say it's impossible, but with a Korean teacher, it would have been difficult. I think I actually had done it prior to then on italki with some good teachers, although depending on how good the teacher was at facilitating the conversation, it would not work because I was barely scraping by. This time it was a much better, it's a big step up, so I could have small, simple conversations. I'm guessing A1 level conversations. Although I have studied grammar probably up to the B2 level. I don't think I've mastered the B2 grammar by any means, but I've seen it. I feel like for reading, my grammar is probably around a B1. And for speaking, I'm like an A1. Yeah, maybe A2 on a good day. Big difference. Listening, I would say A2, not into intermediate, although it's going up. I'm still studying, so it's going up, getting better slowly. Um, I went to Lexus Korea for my language school. It was my second time going there. They had a placement test. They basically placed me into the same class that I ended up in last time. The last time I went, they placed me into the like the a few weeks past beginner, like bare beginner. So like you knew Hangul and that was it. And I said no. I complained. I'm really not one to complain, but I complained because I knew all the vocabulary, and also I mean, although the teacher was basically using Korean in the class, it was like nobody. I wouldn't say nobody. It was just I couldn't. I was like I complained. This time I did not complain. I probably should have, but um, I didn't. At least the class was conducted in Korean. However, the students could not speak Korean, with the exception. There's kind of weird. There was one Korean heritage speaker. He was American. There was me. There was three Americans, I think, total. Me and two guys from America. And the one American was a Korean heritage speaker, and I guess he kind of identified as Korean. I mean, both his parents were Korean. Ethnically, he's completely Korean, but he just grew up in the United States. It's kind of weird. Why was he in this class? I don't know. I didn't test his Korean. He did speak some Korean occasionally in class to the teacher. Sounded really, really good to me, but I don't know. I'm not one to judge. I imagine he maybe has some gaps. Like when I did my placement test, I couldn't remember Undonghua sneakers, and that was like I think that's why they stuck me in this class. It was a short placement test, so yeah, I couldn't remember that. I was able to have a conversation in Korean though. I mean, I was able to talk, but yeah, I got stuck on that Undonghua. Like, damn it. Uh, I wanted to just say sneaker, but I'm like, I knew it wasn't right. Yeah. I think the placement tests are very fast. As I'm sure I think they're accurate more than half the time, but I think they're inaccurate at least a quarter of the time because they are so fast. So, in short, and the one thing they don't do is just to ask you, like what level do you think you are? Because that would be good for them to know. I'm gonna actually, now that I think of this, I'm gonna send that feedback to them. As part of your this placement test, you should ask the student, what level do you think or want to be in? And they maybe don't need to give you that level, although maybe they should. If you're paying and that's what you're asking for, maybe they should. But they should take a good hard look at it and say, okay, this student thinks he's this level or wants to be this level. Let's see if we can make that work, or why they think that. Just take that into account, just like you would the placement test, like a written test or something, a multiple choice. Whenever I do like italki lessons, the majority of teachers are going to ask me, what do you think you are? And one teacher had me go through picking out like all the grammar that you can see in a textbook, and I had to check off if I knew it. I didn't have to like prove that I knew. I just had to check it off. That was exhausting. I literally read all the grammar for like up until I was at least not the advanced, of course, but the lower intermediate. And I'm like, okay, this is too hard. Let's like this is let's start here. And it's like, well, couldn't you just say like what level do you want? Let's do lower intermediate. Yeah. Okay, so the class was I had one heritage speaker. Most of the students in my class, let's see, there was a variety of students. And they were all really cool people. This is really why I wanted to go to the school and get to do the classroom experience, because I get to hang out with people that are learning Korean, and that's it's just not something I can find in my town where I live. I don't live in a big city. Korean is not Spanish. In the U.S., Spanish is huge, and I am studying Spanish actually a little bit, but I'm not as excited about Spanish the way I am about Japanese or Korean or even Chinese, which I haven't put much time into. But I could get excited about Chinese. I just like Asia. Asia is just somehow just really fun and interesting for me. The variety of students. And this one girl who sat in front of me, she seemed to be like in her mid-20s. She's Mexican. She spoke English, not like perfect, but pretty well. And I think she got to practice her English because she was in this classroom. The lingua franca in this class, this school, was definitely English. So I think got way more English speaking practice at school than Korean, although the class was pretty good. Okay, I think we covered during class. The teacher only spoke Korean almost like 99% of the time. She might say an English word for a vocabulary explanation, but barely. She would explain it not just like in saying the English, but also explain it using Korean. So it wasn't like um, she wasn't, if you didn't know the English for some reason, then you were stuck. No, it was all, she was explaining everything in Korean. I could understand everything she said. I, I didn't, honestly, the year and a half ago, I could still understand the teachers, but it was easier this time around. Um, I did some touristy stuff with the class, so not a whole lot, but some. And if I had wanted to more, I could have done more. But honestly, after class, I was kind of tired. I ended up doing my own thing. We're getting past 10 minutes, so we kind of want to wrap the video up as soon as possible. So after class, I made this. I've been to Seoul before, so I had done touristy stuff. Although it was kind of weird. One of my friends from my original Korean class from like years ago, before COVID, um, was in Japan and Korea around the same time, doing the same things. Except she's much more studious, diligent. Man, she was uploading stuff. I haven't looked at Facebook in years. I kind of like figured that everyone else had stopped using Facebook, but I turned it back on and then looked at it. Man, she was uploading the pictures. Like she was going to all the Buddha temples in Korea and Japan, architecture, just like, like she was like all into it. And I just went to I went to this War Memorial Museum, which was interesting. Um, but other than that, my touristy was basically just walking around the city, shopping, and I did a lot of running, and I could cover a lot of on the river there, and then studying. It was a study trip. Uploaded photos to Hello Talk because I'm on vacation, and I uploaded study photos, and people seemed like okay with it. But then later I found out they're like, why are you uploading pictures from McDonald's? Were you studying like Korean? I'm like, well, it's a great place to study. It's way better than America. McDonald's, the American McDonald's is all about like families and kids. In Korea, there's no adults go, and the atmosphere is much better. It's great, and it's cheaper. It's like half the price as it is in America. I don't know what the heck is going on with American McDonald's. It's completely stinks. So, and but I would upload pictures showing like I bought books and I'm just sitting here, making flashcards or whatever. I just would upload pictures talking with, like me studying. I noticed that Hello Talk is not so much about studying as it is about dating. And so I think they wanted pictures of me doing happy dating stuff, maybe or tourist stuff, but stuff that would kind of showcase that. So that's what they were looking for. Oh, well, not me. I'm a study nerd. I was all happy to sit down and study. When I went to Japan though, I was not in study mode. I was absolutely in tourist mode. So that was a completely different trip for me. But yeah, people. Oh well, I'm a weird person, so I get judged. Um, yeah. So in terms of my Korean, I went to Japan. I might talk about my trip to Japan in a different video. Um, I'm just keeping this video to Korea and Korean. Going to Japan, of course, made me motivated to study Japanese more. So I kind of did lose, although when I was in Korea, I was all about Korean, like 1,000%. After I left Korea, going straight to Japan, that kind of dampened that a bit. But yeah, recently I've gotten back into it. So I took a break after I came back and got into Japanese and Spanish. May make a video about Spanish. And but then one of my I don't know acquaintances from Hello Talk volunteered to tutor me. She's a really busy person, and there's a big time difference. Last time we tried this, it didn't work out because of the schedule, and she had a bunch of stuff come up. We were going to do a language exchange, but it just kind of flopped. This time around, we've gotten 2 lessons so far under our belt, barely. They're half-hour lessons each because that's all the time we have in common, free time between our 2 schedules that works out. And that barely works out, but that's all it is. But that's really it was enough to get me studying Korean again. So I'm started getting all into my Anki decks, and now I'm getting into reading on my phone again, getting books. I was looking at, I don't know, I'm trying to find something else to read. I've been reading this light novel for a while. I've read a couple volumes of it and I'm getting kind of bored. Keep thinking how to better improve my reading to kind of just improve the experience and improve my benefit from reading. I'm basically, as I don't know, I'm reading it in my head, um, sub vocalizing completely. And I found that I guess I don't know, I kind of was going back and forth between kind of skimming the text versus sub vocalizing the text, maybe doing a bit of both to try to skim the parts that weren't as interesting versus, and then sub vocalizing just the kind of, I guess, the dialogue or the interesting parts. The dialogue is by far the most interesting parts for me, and also the easier parts to understand. But I think I'm finding that just slowing down and sub vocalizing everything and not forcing myself to understand everything because it won't work. But giving myself a few seconds to try to understand every sentence and not going too fast. That seems to be the best way. And I'm kind of picturing, I don't know if anyone else does this. I don't really remember learning to read English for the first time, but I do a little bit. I remember I read this book, Where the Red Fern Grows, in third grade. I mean, I could already read from first grade, but that was my first like novel that I read. And I remember, and it was a big deal for me. And it was kind of like riding a bike before when you learn to ride a bike. If you remember that, it's kind of like, I can do it. Well, no, I can't. Yes, I can. No, I can't. And it's just, oh my God, it's working. Anyway, but just reading, just kind of like that experience. I'm kind of trying to approach Korean the same way that I did then, from what I remember. Seems to be working anyway, but yeah, it's I kind of like when I have free time, like how much do I want to spend reading? Is just 1 hour per day, like kind of my maximum, or should I try to do? Because like when I get, it's been a while, but um, get into English books, especially when I was younger, I used to do this. I could read I could read all day. Should I try to do that with Korean, or is that just like a waste of time? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out the best balance. Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Korean's going well. I'm really into it at the moment, which is why I'm making this video to talk about it again. I kind of put off talking about Korea, I guess in part because I was more into some other languages for a bit there, but coming back to Korean. So I don't know. Re-signed my lease for this economical apartment that I live in for another year. So I'm stuck here for a year. After that, I kind of was thinking like maybe I want to go back to Asia. Um, Job prospects in Asia are not so good, mostly English teaching. And if you don't know, then teaching English is not a very good paying job. And it can be very stressful because customers are very demanding, and the business owners that employ you can of course they want to make money, and then you have to they get mad at you if there's any problems. You're replaceable, sort of. I don't know. It's a situation. So it's not the same as like just teaching English. Like a volunteer. Very very different experience. Yeah, but it is a way to get into the country, and living abroad. When I lived in Japan, although I didn't work full time the whole time, um, was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, although also very frustrating experiences. Yeah, so this video got way longer than I expected to. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, anything I said that I don't know, you had a similar experience, anything you want to put in the comments, I'm always interested. And thank you for watching.